Aloha. I'm here with my friend Manny Halican.
Aloha.
And I'm Kimo Hussey. And we're sitting here wishing that one of you would have invented a time machine. Because if that were the case, what Manny and I would do is get in that time machine, go back to the year 1879, get out of the machine, head down to the docks, looking for a ship by the name of Ravenscrag. Once we got there, we would also be looking for 3 people whose names are Diaz, Nunez, and Santo. And what we do with these 3 people who initially brought what we know as ukulele to Hawaii in 1879, we would sit down and ask them just a ton of questions and also ask them to play for us. Not being able to do that, Manny and I are doing the next best thing, and we're going to share with you 2 ukuleles that were made by Santo. This ukulele that I have. Well, I'll tell you what, Manny, why don't you describe your ukulele first, and then we'll tell the people about this one.
This is made by local wood, core back and sides. The neck is core, and the top is spruce. Fingerboard is also core, and the top plate, the headstock plate, is core. And then they have these embellishments, the bindings, one of the earlier ones. And then the funny thing about this is this design and this style is still in use today. There's a little different thickness and stuff, but the exact design is exactly the same. This is called the herringbone design. And they got them all the way up to the headstock.
Yeah, and I think Sean had mentioned that that ukulele was made around 1895.
Yeah.
It's incredibly wonderful for us. 1885. 1885. Wow. And it's incredibly wonderful for us to be able to actually play these. And speaking of playing it, we'll get to that in just a second. I'd like to tell you just a little bit about this ukulele that I'm going to be playing. This is reputed to be the very first ukulele that was made in Hawaii. And this ukulele is affectionately called the 1879 ukulele. I don't think we know exactly when it was made, but it was much earlier than the one that Manny has. You can see that these 2 have different design characteristics, and this ukulele is at least the body of it is very small. What this says to me as a player is that when this ukulele is played, it's so small, and especially men who played this had such long fingers that they probably weren't using too many complicated chords like this, and they played a lot with the melody on the A string, because that A string was so accessible. Speaking of playing, Manny, I notice on your ukulele that these spots over here are wear spots.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of wonderful for Manny and I to play these treasures, and there really are treasures. Speaking of playing, let's play a song,
Okay.
so they can hear how these ukuleles sound.
Okay.
Hinin.
Manahila. Iwao mako ikaponei Aike ikanani kai manahila Kai manahila, kai manahila.
Kaina ho.
Aina ia mai ana kapua. Ai ke ikanani kai mana hila, kai mana hila, kau mai luna.
It just it feels really good to play treasures, to play vintage instruments like these. Manny, I notice on the ukulele that you're playing, the binding and the purfling are very nice. And if that uke were made around 1885, today, in building techniques, in order to do this kind of thing, is the technique the same in making that?
Exactly the same. Probably the tools are different,
Ah,
but the method would be the same.
more hand tools.
Yeah, more carving instead of machinery.
Yeah. So is each of these things carved individually?
Yeah,
this?
yeah. Well, the typical way you do the binding is you put the body together, and then there's an edge. Then you notch out a pocket that
Right.
you fit this thing in.
Right.
So naturally, you see how wide this thing is. So you got to notch out a deep pocket
Right.
to take these two bindings.
Right. And then basically these ukuleles are forefathers of the ukuleles we play today. Is there any appreciable difference in the bracing of ukuleles?
Yeah, from this time period and maybe earlier time periods, and the today method of bracing. Today's ukuleles, there's a ton of bracing in there, and these, I understand, this one has just two cross braces, then that's it.
Does it mean that these old ukuleles, when they were made, there was less string tension? And
I think the smaller ones, this size,
yeah,
the string tension does not come into play too much, rather than today's models, the bigger ones with higher string tension.
right.
So I think that's the way these early ukuleles got away with standing up so well over the years.
Right. Speaking of string tension from the player's standpoint, one of the really wonderful things I think about this ukulele is that the tension to me feels lower.
Yeah,
So it's a lot more comfortable strumming.
much more comfortable to
instrument.
play.
Yeah. Yeah. And then these are gut strings. I've not had a whole lot of opportunity to play on gut strings, but they're very comfortable. One other aspect of this ukulele is that the sides and the back are rosewood. So when those initial three guys came to Hawaii, in terms of the evolution of woods, they transitioned, I should say, from international or mainland woods, and eventually went to mixed woods. With some Hawaiian woods and some woods from the mainland and internationally, and then eventually went to all koa,
Yeah.
which is an interesting thing about the ukulele. This thing down here, in order to make this, is the technique today the same? This is an inlay. Yes?
Yeah, it's an inlay, and it I don't know exactly how they did this, but looking at it, I would say the technique would be the same as you would do it today by hand.
Yeah. Oh, cool. I noticed on your ukulele, on the headstock, the tuners, especially these two, go to kind of like almost the edge, as opposed to being mostly on the center. Do you think there's any practical reason for that, or is that just design?
I don't think it makes a difference where these tuners are. It could be down here, and I think they just spaced it out
Right.
because that day they felt like it. I don't know.
When you play that ukulele, how do you feel?
It's a, you know, the fact that this thing was made so long ago.
Right.
And I build ukuleles, and then I have a good feeling about playing my ukuleles, the present day ukuleles. But you have a different feeling when you play these,
Right.
And where they came from, and you kind of wonder what the guy that built this, the ideas that go through his head in building this ukulele.
Well, I feel like it's a very, very special moment for me to play a vintage instrument like this, because I love ukulele and appreciate what ukulele is. To be able to play like the first ukulele that was ever made in Hawaii is just incredible. Let's play one more.
Yeah. Another point is that if there was a time machine, wouldn't it be excellent to take a modern ukulele down to these guys and play them with this ukulele?
Yeah.
That's cool. That would be cool.
And the other thing, whoever makes this time machine, they should make one that can take you into the future too.
Yeah.
Because I would like to go into the future based on this ukulele about 130, 140 years with an ukulele that I have today.
Mm-hmm.
and see what it's going to be like.
There you go.
Hence, that's incredible, isn't it?
Okay.
One of the things I really appreciate about these ukuleles are the tuners, because they're friction tuners, and so I appreciate the change and the improvements in technology and the tuners, because these are difficult for me to negotiate. In fact, I'm so thankful that when I play these ukuleles, it's really easy to give them to Sean and say, "Okay, Sean, you tune these things." Let's play another.
Okay.
Go ahead. What's on?
Ulupalakua.
Shoot.
Kalana mai nei a ulupalakua e hiriki niki ahi ahi ka home aho pani olo Kalana mai nei a ulupalakua Niki ahi ahi ka home aho pani olo
Manny.
Aina mai ka puana a ulupalakua e niki niki ahi ahi ka home aho pani olo Aina mai ka puana a ulupalakua Kei niki niki ahi ahi ka home aho pani olo
one of the very, very special things about what we're doing right now, Manny, is to have. It would be a privilege just to be able to play one of these ukes.
Yeah.
But what a special thing it is to have two of these vintage ukes made by Santo, and they're treasures in that they're so old, and yet they're still very, very playable and sound great for what
Yes.
they are. But to have two of these together for us to play in ensemble is great.
And I got a mahalo Sean, an ukulele friend, for making this thing possible. I don't know anybody else who does it in Hawaii.
Great. And the other thing about Sean and what we do is the information and the music and the ukulele that we shared with you today barely scratches the surface in terms of what's available in terms of knowledge and understanding that will help us appreciate the ukuleles that we love to play. Thank you so much. See you next time.
Aloha.